Right, guys. How's it going, guys? Boxing is all cooking up right now. It's like a couple months ago, I was like, when's we getting like the big fights happening? I was like, wow, Wilder Fury 3 is far away. AJ versus Usyk is far away. But all of a sudden, it's September. Next week, we got Joshua versus Usyk. And then, just like 2 weeks later, I think, or was it 2 weeks later, then we've got Wilder versus Fury 3, the trilogy. All of a sudden, it's all heating up right now, man. I'm looking forward to heavyweight boxing. No, not talking about the B class fighters. We got the A class fighters on show right now, and it's all setting up for massive things. But I'm just gonna jump into real quick. Joshua versus Usyk. Obviously, that's the fight that's closest right now. Next week we got Joshua versus Usyk in the Spurs Stadium. Now I'm an Arsenal fan, but this is the closest that Spurs is ever gonna get to any silverware. Sorry, Spurs fans, but I'm just talking facts. So just gonna jump into this thing. Joshua Usyk, obviously, it's gonna be a very interesting fight. Like I've been talking to so many people regarding like this fight, what's gonna happen, who they think's gonna win. Does Usyk have a chance? Is AJ gonna just blast Usyk out of there using his size? And the one thing I seem to be people, I feel like the fans, just seem to just be saying is that they're acting as if Oleksandr Usyk doesn't have a chance. How can like this is what I don't understand. Like people keep acting as if Alexander Usyk doesn't have a chance. If you check all the comment sections of every boxing channel, IFL TV, Boxing Social, Behind Gloves, every channel, every comment section of any boxing media, Insta, Twitter, whatever, everyone seems to a lot of not everyone, but a vast majority seem to think that they're talking as if Usyk is some cream puff pudding. They're just gonna get in there and knocked out like the way Anthony Yard knocked out that cream that knocked out that TFL TFL bus driver that Anthony Yard knocked out. I'm like, what are they talking about? This guy is a cruiserweight undisputed champion, Olympic gold medalist, unbeaten. You know, the same listen the same narrative people are using against Usyk. They forget this is the same narrative they used about Evander Holyfield. Oh, he's not a real heavyweight. Oh, he's a heavyweight imposter. Oh, he's gonna go up to the heavyweight division. He's gonna get knocked out. Oh, he can't punch when he gets up to the heavyweight division. Oh, when he fights Mike Tyson, when he fights any of the real heavyweights, he's gonna get put to sleep. What are they on about? Like, come on, man. Put respect on people's name. Put respect on his name. I'm not saying that Alexander Usyk is favorite to beat Anthony Joshua, but let's stop acting as if he's a journeyman. Journeyman and Usyk's name is not even supposed to be in the same conversation, but everyone's talking as if this guy's just a nobody. I have a feeling if Alexander Usyk was American, a lot more people would think that he's dangerous. There's just perception that because of the Americans' brash talking and the way they go about business, people associate the talking and the personality with the ability to fight, and people think because the Eastern European bloc fighters, the Klitschko's of this world, or the Usyks and the people like that, because they're not talking as much, the casuals have this perception that they can't fight. You know, you know, expect the unexpected when you see Alexander Usyk in the ring. That's what I'm saying. But obviously, I feel like Alexander Usyk does have attributes that will cause Anthony Joshua problems. I feel like his fleet-footedness, his movement. I feel like his ability to read fighters, especially being a southpaw. Gauging distance, moving around the ring. Being able to tee off on people he's fighting. The boxing IQ at the top echelons. In elite boxing. You know, being able to time people and accurately landing his shots, especially when it gets into the later rounds when people are starting to tire up Tony Bellew. Uh, you know, this is what happens. So I feel like obviously if AJ is obviously coming lighter for this fight, he's coming in much peak, better condition. But I just feel like if AJ comes in, and I've said it, if he starts to tire from round 6 plus, he's gonna be in trouble. He's gonna be in trouble if AJ. I'm telling you guys now. I'm calling it. If AJ starts to tire, starts to slow, because in the early going he's gonna be very explosive, and I feel Usyk's gonna buy this time, filling out the rounds, and then once Usyk Joshua starts to tire, he's gonna try and start turning it on to try and be gauging how A Joshua's feeling, trying to get to him, you know, excessively get into that chin like he did to Bellew. Obviously, Usyk, excuse me, he's not doing himself any favors in terms of like the weight. I keep seeing him looking a bit heavier. I want to know what he's gonna weigh in at, but I just suspect that, you know, I can't. I just suspect that from round six plus, I think we're really gonna start to see a version of Usyk that resembles something from the cruiserweight division. Maybe not 100% because of his heavyweight, but something very similar. And he's gonna be definitely got to have the better movement than AJ. But at the same time, Anthony Joshua's gonna be very dangerous in terms of obviously is the power that he possesses, his physicality. AJ himself can box very well. His jab is very powerful, powerful jab that he's got there, head slapping jab. The power obviously accurate from this long range with that right hand, and I really want to see what happens if he catches Oleksandr Usyk properly, which he will get caught at some point. This is heavyweight boxing, and it's boxing at the end of the day. How does Usyk respond? Because we haven't seen Usyk take a real shot from a real big heavyweight. We're talking about the AJs, the Deontay Wilders, of this world, the Dillian Whites, the big power shots that put people to sleep. We haven't seen, Usyk take any of these shots. We never see him take a real clean shot from Derek Chisora. Obviously, a lot of people are basing their assumption of Usyk's capability against AJ based off Chisora, but stylistically, AJ don't fight like Chisora. AJ's not going to just rush at Usyk like the way Chisora was doing, with no skill or carefree, without any, real sense of what he's really doing. He's just throwing shots, going to war, like he likes to say, quote unquote. AJ ain't going to fight like that. AJ's going to look for them hooks, which is going to be very difficult to land against a southpaw. Left hook's going to be hard to land against a southpaw, and the straight right hand as well against the southpaw. Trying to land that is an issue as well. So it's gonna be. I feel like the early rounds gonna be quite interesting, quite feel out rounds, and I feel like AJ should be on the front foot, taking center ring, and commanding it. But I feel like from round five, round six plus, we're gonna see Usyk get more in the fight and see something that resembles something from the cruiserweight division. Usyk probably not exactly the same. Obviously, he's moved up, but something close. And I suspect that obviously it's heavyweight boxing, anything can happen. But if Usyk it was to beat AJ, to stop AJ, I'm looking at around round eight ish. If Joshua's to stop Usyk, I feel like he could get maybe if he's getting to him in the early rounds. I just suspect that Usyk will be able to weather this, and at some point, if he does get to him, it will probably be to mid to maybe like 5 to 8 rounds, something around there, because Usyk's elusiveness is going to be very difficult for AJ to, be able to pin him down. So I feel like it's good. But if either guys get stopped, I'm looking at round six plus. I'm not looking at anything early. I'll be surprised if Usyk got banged out early, and I'll be surprised Usyk's not known as that devastating puncher. So I'll be surprised if Joshua stopped him. If Usyk was able to stop Joshua getting stopped by Usyk is very predicated on if he gets fatigued and if he starts to slow, just like the way Bellew started to slow. That's what it's very much predicated on. If Joshua's able to keep the fitness levels up, is able to continue with the pace and not be overwhelmed by the work rate of Usyk, then he'll be able to potentially get to Usyk and potentially stop him, and that decreases the chances of him getting stopped. But if he starts to tire, you know, excuse me, if he begins to tire and things like that, I feel like he'll be in serious trouble. And a lot of people say that AJ was moving around well against Ander Ruiz. Ander Ruiz didn't have the foot speed to really put pressure on AJ. So his engine wasn't really tested. He was kind of moving around at his own pace. But when you've got someone pressuring you, pushing you, constantly making you think, mentally draining, physically draining, that's when we're gonna see if you're mentally there, and your fitness is really there to really hang with this. But obviously, a lot of people, if I had to say now, percentage wise, I would probably go 55-45 AJ, or if Usyk came in and he was too heavy, I'm maybe going 60-40 AJ, but it's going to be a very close fight. Any fight with undisputed champion, whether it's from a cruiserweight moving up, they're no game. They're not someone that you should be playing games with. This is a very serious fight, and we have to wait and see what happens, man. Drop your comments in the comment section below. What do you guys think about Joshua versus Usyk? Who's gonna win this fight next week? What's gonna happen? Massive fight. Make sure if you guys want to hit me up on Twitter, KO Boxing Vibe 1, Instagram official KO Boxing Vibe. Let's see what happens, man. Cool.